My name is Ruth Lane. I'm an immigration attorney in Texas. I am a solo practitioner practicing all types of immigration law, but focusing on family, removal proceedings, naturalization, and consular processing. Yes, well, I found that we could be more efficient. Maybe we were missing out on some potential clients if we weren't able to follow up with them after they'd had consultations, that we may want to be able to improve the service in following up with people. Also, I would say that I was wanting us to increase our inefficiency and capacity so that the paralegals could do more advanced work, more substantive work, help them relieve some of the details so that they could help me more and I could upgrade their skills and relieve some of the work that I was doing myself. Well, we needed to increase. I did have a paralegal, an employee who had worked with me for a long time, and I really liked the idea of making her into a paralegal, advancing her skills because she had gained a lot of knowledge over that time. But there were all of the day-to-day phone calls and follow-ups that she was doing. So relieving her of that allows her to learn to do more things. There was just a lot of extra work and stress for me and for everybody too. I wouldn't say we had any specific missed deadlines or any big disaster that happened, but it just is helpful to have more checks and better service. Well, I'm a regular listener of the Immigration Review podcast, and Stafi was doing some marketing there. They got a good endorsement from the recorder of that podcast. Also, through Texas AIGLA, I had spoken with someone and heard from someone who had used Stafi and was also endorsing Stafi, so I trusted her perspective. I had been looking at the idea of a virtual assistant, but unsure as to the best source to try to find one. Heard some stories. I was very cautious about approaching the industry. Uncertain. I guess I tend to be that way anyway. I want to have an idea that this is going to go well, and maybe to a fault if not pulling the trigger soon enough. But finally one night I was like, this is just too much. I'm going to try it. I need the help. And I was very impressed with the information that Stafi provided about how you interview people, how you go through your application process, and the training that you help provide, the training and mentoring. So I felt that would offload a lot of that from me, and also just even do that probably even better than I could. I would say yes. Having an intake assistant really has allowed us to improve our customer service from intake to case closing, to kind of tie that up. Also, I would say that one thing I didn't necessarily expect, didn't know exactly what to expect about how it would go, is that I have found that we are opening more cases, so that's a good result. We're opening more cases, we're more efficient with our scheduling and our consultation follow-up process. But also, my Stafi assistant has really been helpful to us in adapting technology. As I go through and try out a new application or try to learn about it, he's learning about it too and giving me feedback, and it's really helpful for me to bounce ideas of what technology do we want to acquire, or what maybe we don't need that, it doesn't really suit what we're doing, or it's redundant to what we already have. And it's been really helpful to have another person who's focusing on the customer service side of it help us with those decisions. So he's been really good with that. That's a big benefit. We've all learned to delegate more, I think. Yeah, I'm learning to delegate more. It's still a work in progress. A little bit, but I did kind of start with Stafi, honestly, and I was impressed both by the references and the clear information that you gave. I probably did look at maybe one other company as well, but looking at the types of Stafi virtual assistants that you have and the training, it seemed like it gave me confidence. So that's why Stafi turned out to be the choice. It gave me confidence. And I see that the market seems like it's increasing. There's a lot of different providers out there. And I'm not dis disqualifying anybody or saying anything bad. I just have had a very positive experience here. So, well, Stafi handled the recruiting process. So that was very good, because that's like a whole nother job that probably I should have hired, but I put off hiring just for the dread of the recruiting process. So that's very important. And they made the interviews very easy. They assisted with a lot of technical aspects of getting set up and onboarding. I wouldn't have known where to go about onboarding someone, finding someone and onboarding someone remote, like our phone system, getting ID set up. I mean, we have our system, so we worked with our providers, but Stafi was a good link in getting that set up as we needed to go. And then again, the continued ongoing mentoring and support, I think, is helpful to keep everything positive. And it was a challenging year. I mean, I won't mince that. We had internal challenges. All of us had personal things come up that made it harder to keep going, but we've managed, and I think that support has helped us get through 24, and we know 25 is going to be a lot of work too. Well, the efficiency increases. We're improve our process in scheduling our consultations and our consultation follow-ups. We're improving, I hope, our process of relaying information to existing clients. So we're working on that and helping to delegate things. So that would be the results, is that we are able to open more cases and hopefully provide better service on those cases from beginning to end. So I do recommend the ease of being able to get someone on board, and the fact that there is support. I think it's good to make sure to keep communication as you work with them and have them incorporated into your team as much. And I imagine most people do that, but I think that's important because you don't get to see them in person, and so you just want to be able to keep that up and be integrated. But I think that I recommend it for someone who is nervous about hiring. And I don't know if I'm atypical in how anxious I was, because the people that I have been with me a long time. So anyone who's nervous about hiring, I would recommend a service like Stafi.